How to save money and build wealth on a low income. Hey there, fellow wealth builder. Thank you so much for watching. In this video today, I'm going to be talking about ways that you can save money and build wealth even with a low income. Your income is one of your best wealth building tools. So what do you do if you have a low income? Does that mean that you can't build wealth on a low income or you can't save money on a low income? No, absolutely not. You can absolutely save money and build wealth on absolutely any income whatsoever. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. However, you're going to want to focus on getting your income up. That is a long process. Building skills that have greater value in the marketplace is the way you want to go, but it takes time. While you're working to get your income up, does that mean that you can't build wealth on a low income or you can't save money on a low income? No, absolutely not. You can absolutely save money and build wealth on absolutely any income whatsoever. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing 5 tips on how to save money and build wealth on a low income. So if you're interested in that, then just keep watching. My number 1 tip for saving money and building wealth on a low income is to get enough sleep. Now, I have to thank the channel Frugal over 50 for this tip because I thought this was life-changing, and I had never heard the idea of getting enough sleep mentioned in relation to saving money and building wealth. You tend to make a lot of poor decisions when you're sleep deprived, so one of the best ways to take care of yourself is to get enough sleep so that you can make better decisions with your money. Now, another way to build wealth on a low income is to avoid habits that keep you poor. I actually have a video on this right up here. This is not an instant process, but it can be an instant mindset shift. So as you start to build up the habits and disciplines that help you to make more money, you can avoid doing the things that keep you poor. So tip number 1 is to get enough sleep. And I will link to the Frugal over 50 channel down below because that's one of my favorite channels for frugal living tips and hints to make the most of any salary, particularly a lower salary, where every dollar that you're bringing in matters. Tip number 2 is to keep track of your spending. I am a huge advocate of tracking every single dollar you spend every day. For me, this just gives me a tremendous sense of peace and connection to the activities that are bringing in money, as well as awareness about the things that are causing money to leave my bank account. I enter my expenses into an Excel sheet, and then at the end of every month, I will go through and tally up how much I've spent in each category. This can be a huge eye-opener. Notice I'm saying that I advocate tracking your spending. Just keeping track is so important because it allows you the visibility to see what your behaviors truly are versus what you think your behaviors actually are. So you don't track just the purchases that you plan on spending, you also track that unplanned spending. It really gives you an accurate picture of your actual behavior, and having the right facts in front of you are so important to both saving money and building wealth. For illustration purposes, this is the Excel spreadsheet that I use to enter my expenses. Now, you can use absolutely any format that you choose. This is just the format that works for me right now. And as a word of caution, this is kind of under construction and it's constantly being updated, but you can find the latest version that I'm using in my Etsy shop. And again, you can do this in absolutely any format you choose. You don't have to use my version. So I'll just go through and explain the columns that I use. I had the date in this column here, then I enter the month just so I can sort out later. Then I put the description, what I was buying. Under the cost, I obviously put how much it cost. Then the payment I use, what payment method I use. For the most part, it's my debit card. And then the category that I decide to enter that particular expense into. So you can see in the description section, I put a little bit more detail about exactly what I spend, and that'll kind of give me a clue to what I was thinking at the time. And the category is later what I go back and assign that expense into, or working from the beginning, I start out with the expense that I have for that category, and then I decide how I'm going to spend it. And then in the where, I just put where I spent that expense, the location of that particular expense. Once more, the purpose of this exercise is to get an accurate and detailed view of my spending so that I know exactly what I'm spending and where, and I can see how that impacts my overall expenses. Tip number 3 is to divide your wants from your needs, and then to focus on your needs over your wants. So I've heard the saying, first do what you have to do, Then do what you want to do. This seemed so simple but effective to me because it really emphasizes to put first the things that you must get done, and then to prioritize those things over the things that you want to do. It doesn't mean that you'll never do the things that you want to do. It just means that you're putting the things that you need to do on a higher priority level than your wants. Just as a reminder of needs versus want, needs include things like shelter, water, electricity, and modest food, like food you can buy at the grocery store. And then wants are things like food out. That's any food you could buy in a restaurant that someone would serve to you. Accessories, fancy cars, and some subscription services. So just be really diligent as you decide your wants from your needs. On the topic of needs over wants, a great thing to do is to pay off your credit card debt. I have a video on this as well. It took me 2.5 years and I was making roughly $30,000 a year. I covered all my own expenses, I lived on my own, and I had $17,000 of credit card debt, and I did it in about 2.5 years. I didn't win any awards for speed when I got rid of my credit card debt, but it is gone, and gone for good. Tip number 4 is to splurge responsibly. So a tip that works for me is to keep a running tally of my wish list. So these are things that are on my wants list, and I will actually enter in the item into, again, my Excel sheet. I will put down what category that item falls in when I know that it's very clearly not a need, it is a want, and I'll put the price. Sometimes I'll even take pictures of the item with my phone. This really helps me avoid impulse spending. That way, later on, when I'm back at home and I'm a little bit more calm and less distracted by what's going on in the store, I can review the item, and I will tell you 9.5 times out of 10, I fully affirm that I don't need the item and I don't even want the item anymore. Keeping a running wish list helps me to see on paper the items that I think that I want, and then to make a plan to bring them into my life. And tip number 5 is to stay accountable. One of the keystones of saving money and building wealth is surrounding yourself with like-minded people who also share your goals. It's difficult to make any progress when you're constantly surrounded with people who are either discouraging you or living high-consumption, high-cost lifestyles that are either unsustainable or don't match your current level of income. It is critical to both have friends that support you and support your desire to save money and build wealth. That way you can affirm each other in your commitments to delay gratification long enough to build a solid financial future. That doesn't mean you need to get all of your fun-loving, free-spending friends. It just means that you need to prioritize people in your life who share your values and are able to support you in the path to saving money and building wealth. So there you have it. Those are my 5 tips for saving money and building wealth on a low income. I hope this has been helpful to you. Also, if you're looking for another video to watch, I have my money wins and losses from 2020. And that's when I take a good, hard, long look at the money that I've spent. That's where I take a good... In this video, I take a thorough look. In this video, I take a hard and thorough look at my spending from last year and decide what my money wins were, what my money losses were, and really evaluate them going into the next year. So definitely check that out if you're looking for something else to watch. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you'll keep watching. Bye!